Oh, there we are.
Clearly, you were out of the loop, Todd.
Really? Hang on one second, Todd. Hang on, Taryn. Just give me a second here. We were just getting set up when you texted us. All right.
Okay, he's going to start recording, but he doesn't realize that one of us is still up and around.
So,
Hold
what
on,
are we
guys.
discussing today?
Oh, you know what? I got to grab a Kleenex. I forgot to take some antihistamine, and I don't know if you guys have noticed here in Georgia, but the weather seems to be doing really strange things.
Indeed.
You know, isn't it supposed to be 40 degrees tomorrow? And
yes,
it was
winter.
80?
It was like 80 this week. But you know what? I grew up in Atlanta. It's not too unusual for April. We've had some weird, we've had some snowstorms in April before. So April's always kind of the weird month for Atlanta. Speaking as an Atlantan here, I'll testify to that. So this is, we've seen this before.
Okay, well, I've only been here, well, geez, I can't even believe it, but it's 11 years now, and we've seen some crazy things, but this is the first time my allergies have responded so bad.
Yeah, I totally get that. My allergies have been a little odd too this year. I think everybody's like to talk about how due to climate change, which is a thing.
It is so bad.
That everybody's the allergy season starts sooner and it finishes a little bit later.
I don't think mine go away at all anymore.
Go away?
Yeah, I think they're year round, and I cannot be without a Kleenex. It's a lovely thing. So hold on 1 second. I'll be right back. I just have to head over to a cupboard. Okay?
We have some over here.
Who's here?
Okay.
It's Angel.
Angel, she always wants to be on camera. You be on camera, girl? Be on camera. Say hello.
Yeah, wait for Diane.
Joe.
Diane, check. Angel.
Hey, there's Angel. She always when I'm on meetings and stuff, she seems to sense it, and she comes up here and starts to play. So I'm like, you want to get on a meeting? There you go. Get on a meeting, girl.
She's such a beautiful girl. You know that Felix right now and I are having sleepover.
Oh, are you?
His parents are, he teaches, his daddy's a vice principal at a school, and they go out of town on spring break, because of Easter. I should say Easter break. And, whenever they go out of town, we take care of Felix.
Right. Felix the cat.
Felix the cat, and we do sleepovers together, he and I.
Oh, but did you say it's like an indoor-outdoor kind of kitty thing?
He's an indoor-outdoor. He was feral when he was born.
Right.
And kind of adopted them. And so when they moved up here, they were in Savannah. He adopted them. And so when they moved up here, he was a little young guy and he was in and out, outside, inside. And we got to know him really well. So they call us his godparents, of course. God. And when they go out of town, we always babysit him and we always do sleepovers.
Right. Because this week was spring break week for the school kids and teachers, right?
Yeah. Yeah. This is their school vacation, Easter vacation. And so they're down in Savannah and we're doing sleepovers, which of course I love. He and I cuddle up together on the couch. And he's gotten so used to it now because we do it every time they go out of town that now the sign is that I put a blanket on the couch. And he knows that's the signal that we're going to do a sleepover. So he runs and he gets on top of the blanket, and then I turn the lights out and crawl in with him. Only I get under the blanket.
Sometimes if we're going to sleepover, just put a blanket. It's putting a sock on the door. All right.
Yes. It's so cute. He knows now. And he's like, and he runs up and he jumps on top of the blanket, and then I turn the lights out and I go ahead and get under the blanket, and he just sleeps right up on my chest.
Oh,
it's so cute. It's so cute.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Get that.
Yeah. The great thing is you guys have like a god cat. You can just go have fun with him, then send him back to his master. They got to pay all the vet bills and buy all the food. I guess they buy all the food and all that.
No, we spoil them because we buy better food.
Well, that's what we do because we've got God kids. And that was always the fun part of it, is go over and play with
And
them
go home.
and have fun, and then leave them, have them back to their,
Yeah.
but and they're god teenagers now,
Yeah.
so it's a little
Yeah.
bit different. So
It's true, yes, and we always buy, the expensive stuff, and he gets all this great food, and also we feed him whenever he wants, which probably isn't the best thing to do for him, but we have a lot of fun. Yeah, we have a lot of fun with him.
good. And you got to finally meet Angel. I guess she just wanted to be a part of the video.
Yeah.
She's still,
Yeah,
she's still
She's on
messing.
the keyboard right now.
Yeah, I've got a keyboard
does
up here.
she want to pipe in on this? Does
No,
she have-
the funny thing is like well, you know how cats are. Like she wants to go outside. Like she'll try to sneak out the door when we're not looking. But then when we take her outside, she's like, I want to get back inside. No, I
want
don't.
inside.
Oh, no. They're contrarians, whatever you want to do, they want to do the
Right,
opposite.
exactly. So
They're such contrarians, these little
Siamese.
guys. They're so funny.
too.
Very entertaining creatures. Very entertaining creatures, I have to say.
She wakes at 4 a.m. She wakes us up. She jumps on the bed.
Well, and so
jumps the blinds.
I was going to ask you. It's Good Friday, right? Today's Good Friday.
It is Good Friday today.
Does that have any significance to you in your life or anything at all? I know we're coming on like it's Good Friday. It's Passover. It's Ramadan.
I was going to ask you all the same question. I was definitely brought up Christian. I was confirmed, and I actually have pretty much gone to church my entire adult life. But when we came here, I wasn't really, there are not a lot of Lutheran churches around here, I've noticed.
There's a lot of Baptists.
No. I mean, you really got to look to find a Lutheran church. So, and I'm one of these people that I'm not really a morning person. So I kind of need to find a church with, a Saturday evening service that I want to go to. So I have to say that since we've moved here, I've kind of fallen off from that.
I'm saying that I'm not doing the same thing, but I'm just kind of curious what your thing was, or if you had a church particular affiliate, if you went to church. So yeah, we had an interesting situation. We could probably use your sage advice on this.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe you can help us out. And if my family sees this, more power to them. I guess that they're not going to watch it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But so they have kind of pulled a fast one on us. Like this week is my my brother-in-law's birthday. So we were going to all get together for lunch on Easter. And so and they go to this church way out in Loganville. Do you know where that's at? Loganville's like, we live in the city, so it's an hour drive for us to drive out there. But they want, and I don't know why I do know why they go to church. There's a whole nother talk show. But they go to this small little, like they live down in McDonough, but they go to this church in Loganville. Part of the people who run the church are my brother-in-law's relatives, but it's a small charismatic church. Do you know what that means when I say charismatic church?
Yes, I do.
What does it mean to you? Just for in case anybody's.
Say it.
Well, what it means to me is, the first off, it generally means the service is going to be longer than an hour.
At least two.
Secondly, chances are there might be a lot of prayer and a lot of Bible reading.
Mm-hmm.
And there's might be a lot of hand raising.
There will be a lot of that.
And there might be a lot of gospel reading.
Gospel readings.
And the biggest thing is the service is going to go beyond
The service is going to be long, and they do something called speaking in tongues.
They do the speaking in tongues.
Yeah, do you know what that means?
Of course I do. I was going to say that, but I thought, no, I better not go there and put myself out there with that. Oh yeah, the speaking in tongues. Yeah.
Yeah, and so yeah, and so I don't think Todd, you've ever seen it.
No, I was raised Catholic. We didn't do that.
Oh.
And mass is like 45 minutes and you're gone.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't want to step on anybody's religion or anything like that. Who knows what they're going to say? It's not. I've gone to churches like that before. I used to go to a church like that. I don't anymore. It's not my thing, but if it's somebody else's thing, more power to you. And that's the great thing about it is, if that's my family's thing and they like that, that's great. Good for them. I'm happy for them. It's not. I did that for a while. I went to a church like that where that was a very predominant part of it. And I don't anymore. It's not my thing anymore. It's okay. I don't criticize people who do.
Oh yes,
yeah, it's just not my thing. It's if it makes you happy and you whatever, if you feel like you're speaking to God or whatever your religious beliefs are, cool. That's thing. But it is a bit unorthodox, right? For people who especially don't understand it. It could be a bit disorienting. It requires explanation. Todd's never seen it before. So they were
TV.
Yeah. So we were just trying to we tried to work our way out of not going to eat. They invited us to Easter service with them to this church, and they want us to go to lunch afterward to celebrate my brother-in-law's birthday. They kind of packaged it together,
Yeah. Yes.
So we were trying to sort of, but here was the funny thing. Actually, this is the side question is that, and this might be the bigger question, is that I am 62 years old. I know you're shocked to hear that. I know it's just like, what? But I found myself feeling like I needed to come up with some story to tell my family about why we can't go, instead of saying we don't want to go. I felt like I've got to come up with some story. I was working up this elaborate, story. God, I hope they're not watching. But well, and then it's kind of got some truth to it. Anything I'm not going to say right now. But anyway, I felt like the real question is, all of a sudden now, when you're your siblings, do you become like a teenager again? Is it like do we become like all of a sudden now? I feel like I see my parents. Yeah, and I feel like I got to tell my dad, well, I'm not going to church. Or do I just lie and say I'm going, or do I just? But why could I just couldn't tell her we just don't want to go?
Why don't you just tell them that you have Easter dinner with Todd and some friends?
That's kind of
Diane, my best friend is Jewish, and I have spent Seder's with them at Passover several times.
Because Passover and Easter overlap this year.
Right, they overlap.
Which is unusual. Yeah, they sometimes do, but most of the time Passover is like the week before, right? Because of the way the full moon falls and all that. Right. But usually, traditionally, you just have the Passover weekend before. Ramadan's the same weekend if people celebrate that, and then Easter. But it's because of the full moons tonight. Actually, Passover is like this week, and so Todd is going to a Seder on Sunday. You know what a Seder is, right?
Yes, I do.
My best Ross, we've been friends 25 years, and he has I was the best man at his wedding, and I've been to his mom's house several times for a Seder, and it's very nice.
And I'm helping my best friend. The guy kids we talked about, they're 15, but they still want to do an Easter egg hunt. But they don't want to be. We're trying to do a cool Easter egg hunt for them. You can tell they still want to do it, but they don't want to do it because of their age. So we've come up with they're big into Dungeons and Dragons, so we're doing a Dungeons and Dragons Easter egg hunt.
Oh, that's one you want to keep quiet.
I know, right? It would just been easier to say,
oh my,
I want to go to church.
Oh my heavens.
I know, and then I realized that, but I didn't actually tell them about I just said we're doing an Easter egg hunt. I haven't included the dungeon. That's the part I haven't incorporated into it.
What the drag races that
I think that telling them that you have an assortment of friends that are all getting together to celebrate that holy day.
Exactly, the truth.
Because it's a holy day, and I love the Ramadan. Oh, throw that in there just to freak them out. I know.
I guess it was so funny because a lot of this stuff we concocted because it wasn't so much that we did have other plans. We just didn't want to go to church, and I was like, oh, we got to come up with something new. And then I realized, and maybe this is what I'm asking: if your great sage wisdom, why was I unable just to tell them, my family? Is this and then I started I've talked to a few other people about it, and like, oh yeah, I'm the same way. When I'm with my siblings, I all of a sudden become a teenager again, and we're, or my dad.
Watch your watch. I
gotta be honest with you. When you're at one of those services, you just want to slash your wrist anyway. So I would tell them honestly, because you're getting together. And you're going to be experiencing a holy day.
Right.
And you're with people you love and people you enjoy and people that you respect. And that should be what it is. I see nothing wrong with what you're doing.
Yeah, it wasn't so much about Easter or speaking in tongues or whatever to them. I just found it odd that as a 62-year-old guy, I felt like I still had to lie to my family. like when you used to go out with your friends drinking and you said you're going to the movies, I'm like, all of a sudden I'm a teenager again. And I can't tell them they want you to go to their crazy, aunt's house or something, and you just don't want to go. But if you said you come up with some sort of elaborate ruse, I'm like, why didn't I just tell them?
You are so right. And I so totally understand because, I've had 2 marriages before my marriage to Mark. Now we're going to be married 25 years this year.
Oh, wow.
So that tells you how long ago these were. But with both families, one, they were people who would never, ever, ever miss church for any reason. But they were also of the same faith I was, okay, Lutheran, which now the Lutheran Church is much more radical and they see you as much more heretical as we did then. I mean, you are really going to hell if you don't go to church now. And you're
Really? Have they gotten more radical about that?
Lutheran, for the most part, has become a lot more like, anyway, the churches were a little crazy. But then I married a Baptist. So that was really interesting because they are into the 3-hour services.
Oh my God.
So then I married Mark and he came from a Catholic family. But then I discovered that the Catholic services, like you said, are only like 45 minutes long.
Right, they're very well organized.
I loved that. I loved it. I also loved it. So that has gotten, much, much better. And honestly, we do have a Catholic church down the street, but it's huge. And I also want to be within walking distance of a church. And it's on a very, very busy street where honestly, if I tried to cross, I'd get killed. So I'm not doing that. But I think that your idea of being together with friends who are all there for a spiritual reason. And oh, by the way, Christians hate the word spiritual because you may as well just be saying godless. So
right, because a lot of people say I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual. And they're like, yeah, they get all upset about that.
No, they should never say that because it definitely means you could still believe in God. You can still believe in Jesus. But anything to a lot of Christians, anything that is not Jesus focused is wrong.
Right.
So, and that's too bad because there are so many great people who are in church, who are not necessarily Jesus focused, even though they believe that Jesus is part of the worship. It isn't putting hands in the air,
right, exactly,
and speaking in tongues.
But if people like that, and my family likes it, that's fine. I'm not criticizing that. It's just just not. Right. Doesn't mean it's for everybody though. That's why we have freedom of religion, right? So you can all kind of find the kind of what works for you or whatever. But if it, but it was just weird that all of a sudden was a teenage boy again trying to figure out a way to get out, stick out of the house, go that line, whatever.
You have other,
it's
other people from, a variety of friends, and you're doing your own.
It's funny you say that about Jesus though. Like I got a really good friend who's kind of agnostic-y, that's a thing now. It's a growing thing now. But he actually said he was going to read the Gospels of the Bible, and he called me. He was like holy, and he used an expletive, because he's atheist. And he says, if he says this guy Jesus is amazing. He goes, why do not if people actually did what he said, I would be like all up in that, man. Because if you really look at what he taught, it was really some pretty cool stuff, about loving each other. I mean, look at what he said, not all sort of the way it's been packaged.
Right. And yet, the extreme followers of Jesus don't believe any of that stuff.
Right.
Like love your enemy,
Yeah.
So that you put that up in, and they're like, yeah, that's not what he really meant. And I go, really? Did he tell you or whatever? What did he? I mean, but or like Jesus wasn't really into politics that much. It wasn't his thing. He didn't do all that. I mean, he just did a lot of like good stuff. He healed people. He talked about taking care of one another, love your neighbor, all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, and God too. A lot of people talk. They're so judgmental about how they believe God is judgmental. And here's the thing. They believe that because God is judgmental, they can be judgmental. And there's so much that goes on about that. Well, I'm a good Christian and you're not, and I'm here to judge you. And that's not the same as God judging. I'm sorry, you do not have that right. And also the whole notion that we are a Christian fundamentalist nation. No, we're not. Look at the Constitution.
Right.
Our country embraces all faiths.
Right.
And we are not to judge.
Well, I agree, and maybe that's what I was fearing for my family was judgmentalism. To be honest with you, that might have been kind of where that was kind of from. Now that you say that, as you just said that, I think Diane might have just picked up on it. You know, the judgmentalism that kind of goes with it. But I often tell, like, I grew up in a Baptist church, so we know the Bible. Todd and I watch Jeopardy like every night, and whenever they have a Bible category, and I clean up on the Bible categories, Bible and science, but the Bible, because I just grew up in a Baptist church. But I always want to ask, like, my friends who are like Bible scholars, like especially about Jesus, like, you know, his great commission was go ye in all the world and preach the gospel. You've probably heard that before. That's called the Great Commission, evangelism, right? But he never said, like, go ye in all the world and join politics and pass laws forcing people to follow the gospel. He never said it. And all this sort of latest evangelical movement where people are trying to get laws passed to follow their interpretation of Christ.
That's right.
I can't find the Bible basis for it. I've asked people to show me where did Jesus tell you that? I think there's even a scripture where he said, you know, you go out 2 by 2, send the disciples out 2 by 2 to teach. And he said, if they reject your teaching, I think he said, kick the dust of that town off your sandals and go to the next. He didn't say, if they reject your teaching, you stay there and get elected mayor and pass laws forcing them to follow my teaching. So that's always been sort of my catch today with a lot of modern religions, that I love a lot of the ideas. I just don't. The politic blend kind of gets me a little out of whack.
Like drag queens reading to.
I know, that's terrible. We got to stop that.
Yeah, and you know, Jesus was a very accepting man.
Right.
He was a very accepting person.
Right.
And he let the prostitutes wash his feet. He accepted everybody because he knew that, in fact, it was God who judges, not him.
Right. Exactly.
And in reality, and I even have a wonderful friend, and she's Black, but she's been a good friend of mine for years and years, and she's older, and she goes to very conservative. You know, Black churches are the best, man. They are the best because they celebrate things instead of being pointing at you about how bad you are. They celebrate life. And her response to those who are so judgmental about people, she'll recite Bible verses that say, God is the one who judges.
Judge not lest you be judged.
Stop everybody and let him do his job.
Right. What is it? Jesus said, take the speck out of the beam out of your eye, for you judge me for the speck in mine, or something. So there's a lot of script. And that's what this guy said that my friend I referred to earlier. Is like, there's all this great stuff about not being judgmental. Don't judge other people. You know, judge yourself first. Take care of yourself first before you start deciding what's best for everybody else. So that's sort of, so a lot of times when I go to church, that gets me a little, I guess, uneasy. I still feel like church is so political now, so it's hard to kind of.
Oh my goodness, it is so ridiculously so, and so many of our politicians are so highly into being fundamentalist Christian that is all totally about judgment, and they will swear to you that Jesus Christ was at the signing of the Constitution. I read it all the time.
No,
and some of these, you know, are former politicians and former members of the highest offices. And it's just unbelievable to me because their mission is to make the United States government fundamentalist Christian and run like Christianity, which they see as the offshoot of the fact that Jesus was at the signing of our Constitution.
Do people really believe that? I mean,
yes. Oh, I've been reading more.
Did he die in 33?
It's scary. It's absolutely scary.
So then how do the Christians reconcile their big guy getting caught with his pants down with a porn star. You know, how do they work that out? Because that seems to be a
no,
big.
it's like the cartoon that was hate this, love the sinner, hate the sin.
You know, that's not in the Bible.
No, it's not.
Nowhere. You know, actually, I think Gandhi said that
Not.
somewhere,
It's
but
not.
I don't know. I don't quote me on that. But I know, I do know that love the sinner, hate the sin is nowhere in the Bible to be found. And so that's when people say that, I'm like, show me that scripture, you know, and they're,
Right.
But
you do remember, of course, that when they were shooting tear gas at protesters around the Capitol, do you remember that?
for the Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives and George Floyd. I can't remember when they were having the huge
Protest.
stuff going around the country. I can't believe I can't remember what it was about, but they were marching on Washington. They were protesting in front of the White House, and Trump comes out with all the generals behind him, with Ivanka and Jared behind him, and he walks up to that church and he just holds up a Bible.
He holds it down upside down, though.
Oh yeah, right.
I remember that. He didn't get it right side up.
And I guess that was his way of telling all of the Christians that, but he believes in the Bible. He never said a word. He just
is that kind of what it is, that he tells them what they want to hear? Because I've been still trying to crack that riddle too, and your great wisdom. But how do they reconcile the fact that this guy, you know, had sex with a porn star while his wife was home nursing their newborn son?
And a playboy.
And a playboy. Yeah, he's got around. He's got on record talking about, you know, the grabbing the, you know, I can't even say the word.
Yes.
Yeah, he got, you know, that whole thing. I guess the real question is, you know, they sort of hold this guy up as like a Christian paragon. I'm trying to figure out how they work that out.
You know how they've worked it out is he will do anything for them because he wants their vote. So because he will do anything for them, they want him in office. And I was reading all about this because Trump has no scruples whatsoever. And he believes in nothing except what will get him what he wants.
So he'll say whatever he has to say.
He will do whatever they want because he believes in nothing. Right. He's an opportunist. He will say anything to anybody to get their vote, which means if you ask for black something, and he'll give you black something. If you ask for white something, he'll give you white something. If the Christians want to have their own Christ-based justice, he will give that to them. Remember when he got in office, because he got their vote, he changed the judges he had appointed gave Christians anything they want. And all of these justices, think about it, are pro-Christian ones. Our Supreme Court is pro-Christian. Look what they did to Roe v. Wade.
Right.
All the justices that all through the country that were appointed by him, he got them from the Heritage Foundation, and they are all pro-Christian.
Yeah. So, and the Heritage Foundation is the big Christian think tank, right? Yeah, the whole fundamental Christianist.
Yeah, ultra conservative think tank. It's the most conservative, and they're pro-Christian. They're anti-spending any money, even on seniors, people who need it. They don't want Medicare. And see, they don't want any money.
They are I think the source of the problem is that these organizations like that who somehow try to get politics and religion all meshed up together again. And that's what I think. I mean, that was the whole, like Jesus, that gets back to that. First of all, Jesus didn't do it. And our founding fathers tried not to do it too. They set up this separation of church and state thing, mostly because of it's too much of a concentration of power. To be honest with you, that was the whole thing about our Constitution, was the separation of powers, that we're right now at this point in our evolution as a beings that we just can't handle power. And we keep proving that over and over. So we have to create this inefficient government that keeps power in check by conflict. And it's better than the alternative to where you give power to one person. And then we have, you know, Nazi Germany or whatever, you know, and all that kind of stuff. So it's not that efficient, and people kind of gripe about that, but it's designed to be not that way. And And so the separation of church and state was part of that, right? And Jesus, and that, so the Heritage Foundation, to me, I think they're sort of the root of what this problem is, of this sort of meshing.
Yeah, they are. They're very, very Christian based. They're very, very not wanting laws that will help anybody based.
But
they don't, because they don't.
Fun fact about them. Did you know that they, the Heritage Foundation, designed what was called the Affordable Care Act? They designed this type of private insurance. They designed it in the 90s when, remember, there was all this talk about, in the 90s, they were talking about single payer. It was actually getting some traction. People were interested in it. So they designed this idea of requiring everybody to have insurance, having an exchange where you could buy it from. They basically designed Obamacare. Then they had Mitt Romney implement it in Massachusetts. So when they loved it until Obama started talking.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, then which is interesting to me, because I was like, all of a sudden now, I think Obama was like, well, we'll use your plan. Sure, let's do what you said, and we'll give it a try. And then all of a sudden they were like, no, it's a stupid idea. Like, didn't you guys design it?
Yeah, and they put all these strings attached to it that made it so difficult for everybody to sign up. And they gave them almost and then of course Trump said we'll keep it, and what he did was make it lie about what they'd done with it, and it turned out to be full of lies when it came to handling pre-existing conditions.
Exactly.
All these insurance.
Trust me, we
there.
Yeah, everybody's got a pre-existing condition.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you a question on another page then, since we're asking you questions today. So what, and you don't have to lie to us, you can be honest. What are you going to do? What are you doing for Easter? Do you have any big Easter plans? You're going to do anything?
No.
You can tell us the truth if you're going to.
No, the truth is my husband and I are going to relax as much as possible. Now that he's working full time, if he wants to relax at home, that's what we do. So we'll take
a day of rest. You're going to take a day of rest. That's funny. Because that was always the argument when I was a kid. When I was a kid, like when they would teach us the Bible, said, and on the Sabbath day, the Lord rested. I'm like, why did we have to go to church on the Sabbath day? Shouldn't we be resting? Like God said. Of course, I didn't really catch on, obviously, for my parents. We still had to go to, we grew up in a Baptist church. So we were at Sunday school, then there was a church service. Then you go out with people after dinner for church. You went home, and then you went back to church that night, for another service. So it was really a very not restful day at all. So, but you guys are sound like y'all going to follow the Lord's example. And
yeah, we're going to. Now, when I was younger, I did all the church functions as well on Easter. I did do all of that, yes. Well, and it was the social day with those who went to church with you. That was.
Anybody asked, Todd is going to a Seder.
Oh, you are? Well,
yeah, and I am helping with an Easter egg hunt that may or not be themed after a very popular role-playing game that we won't mention right now. Maybe, it's, if anybody asks you, like, just so happen to hear, that's what we're doing. Yeah.
Okay. You're going to have a wonderful day with friends.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think it's great.
All right, but don't tell my family.
No, I definitely won't tell your family. Don't worry about that. I definitely won't tell them. But I think that you should be telling them that you're going to enjoy Easter and celebrate Easter with other people whom are your friends, and it's going to be a lovely day, and you're definitely going to celebrate each in your own way.
Or I can follow.
And you're actually going to celebrate in a number of ways.
Right.
So that's what I would do.
I could follow your example and tell them I'm going to do what the Lord did and take a day of rest.
Take a day of rest.
Because that's what God did on the Sabbath. I'm going to do what he said to do on the Sabbath. After that, do you? On a totally different page, do you ever watch anybody like Bill Maher or anybody like that?
Oh my goodness! We used to watch him all the time, but we don't get the HBO anymore. because we're real judicious with the number of channels that we get.
Right,
So,
'cause
I
everybody-
love Bill Maher.
Yeah, so
I
said,
went and heard him in person in a smaller venue. It was really great.
oh, you saw him in person?
I did, yeah. He's just great.
Oh, I would love to see. Well, the reason why I asked is because, you know, he is a very famous, boldly stated agnostic. That's why that's what made me think about him. You know, his whole thing is, you know, he's actually not agnostic. He's an atheist or whatever. But on that same page, here's the thing that I've been finding a bit strange. Once again, this is, we're having a religious kind of thing talk here. Because, you know, I grew up Christian and we still you still believe that. I mean, it was kind of ingrained into us. So I still feel like I believe a lot of that. But I've been finding interesting talking to like younger people who don't believe any of that. Like they just, this one kid told me, he's 15, like, I just believe when I die, I die. You know, I don't believe anything supernatural. I believe you just better take it for the moment. But then he said a lot, and that's most of what my friends believe too, kind of like that stuff. Do you find like a lot of kids, or is this, I mean, have you ran into this? Have you heard anything about this, about younger people just adopting more of an agnostic kind of position like Bill Maher, or what?
No, I haven't. But I think from a political standpoint, that's probably a good thing. Because they finally put a can on all of this Christian stuff that is meant to say that our government is supposed to be a Christian government. That is the dangerous thing. That is the most dangerous thing here, that our government is supposed to be Christian only.
Right. That's why they're passing all these laws, trying to get people to follow. Right. Like I said, and I don't, that's always been kind of my argument too. But on the flip side, for some reason, I found myself a little bit sad that this kid didn't have anything to believe in. And I wondered how that affects you, or, you know, I'm still kind of processing it, to be honest with you. And then when he was like, that's what all my friends believe too, you know, we just don't. I mean, we have a few friends that, you know, go to church and kind of, he says most Americans either don't believe anything at all, or they're really big into the Christian thing at all, almost like too much. You know, you hear about the young Christians who are way over the top. But I don't know, there was this strange little reaction. Like, I totally agree with you that probably, maybe it's the lesser of two evils. I don't know. Is that maybe the way to look at it?
That's kind of how I look at it. Yeah, that's how I would look at it. And this is one of the things, honestly, that drives the Christian right crazy, is that maybe Christianity isn't growing as a religious tendency.
Apparently it's not. It's apparently, that's what they say, speaking of church, that church attendance is on the decrease. You know, a lot of young people aren't floating.
Absolutely nuts. That's going to make them nuts.
But the people who are there seem to be a little almost monolithic about it. And they don't seem to have they're not necessarily pulling other people in. They're almost like, you know, I don't want to be like Susie Q over there, who's like a Jesus, you know, they're almost like too over the edge with it or whatever.
Right.
Crazy question here. I have this, I would just tell you something very personal, because I've often wondered why people are like this. But I will tell you, and I've thought about this, and this is just my personal thoughts here. But when I was in my 20s, I got very much involved in religion. I think I've shared this before. You know, I grew up in this very strict Baptist church. I swore I would never go. And then when I got in my 20s, I did, going through college, got very much involved. It was a charismatic church I referred to earlier. And it was a much more modern. We had a Christian rock band that actually played in and all that. But I got very much involved in it. Oh, I mean, it was everything. It was my life in my 20s. But what I finally realized is the biggest reason I was involved in this church was not because I believed it. It's because I was trying not to be gay. Like, I was trying to avoid something. And so
that's so not uncommon.
Yeah, and
that is not uncommon.
You think that's kind of not just gay, but maybe avoiding anything. And so I've often wondered, have you thought about this?
Maybe they don't have sex.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that was it.
Yeah, or well, I just didn't want to be gay because I thought it was wrong, right?
Yeah. You were
thought you didn't.
I didn't care.
But I think the point, I guess I've kind of wondered along the same lines is, do a lot of people get into religion because they're trying to avoid something, you know, and not so much like be something, but avoid something?
Absolutely.
I say that about everybody, of course. I just wonder.
We'll get married too. A lot of people get married because they don't want to be gay.
Right, and you've heard about your friend who like was gay, but then they went back and decided they wanted to be straight, and they got married. But you know, it's
same way. Some will go back in the closet and get married because they can't.
Well,
I said that to everybody. I know a lot of people, good people, go to church and all that kind of stuff, but it does seem like
a lot of bad people go to church.
Yeah, exactly.
All for show.
Yeah.
But it does seem like maybe there's a lot of these people, like maybe there's this whole class of people, like I consider myself, who went to church not because they were into church, they were just trying to avoid facing something.
Yes.
You know, trying to face maybe me, it was being gay, but maybe it's something else for somebody. I don't know.
Well, and there's a lot of fear going on there too. I mean, look at the churches that literally throw their children out into the cold if they find out they're gay. I mean, they will give up their children and throw them out if they find out they're gay.
I know, we've ran into that, yeah.
To a camp where they almost kill them by rolling them in rugs and abusing them. It's dangerous to come out in the church if you're gay.
Right.
Churches are not known for being kind to young men or women who come out gay. I mean, the families will literally kick them out with nothing. Well, and a lot of the women have to go into prostitution, the young girls.
I was afraid of that. That's coming out. I was afraid my parents would kick me out for being gay.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, I was terrified. I missed out at 20, but I knew I was gay when I was like 15 years old. And Mom said, well, why don't you have a girlfriend? Why don't you do this? And I said, well, I made an excuse. Well,
yeah, we made excuses.
No, but because of my leg was, then Mom would introduce me to girls in her office when I was like 20 years old. Because Sean was married, my brothers were married, I wasn't married, and she wanted me to get married. It's just really.
So I guess you had to fear that you'd be kicked out of the house if you came out.
Yeah.
So,
but my brothers knew, but my parents didn't. My brothers never said a word.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I started thinking, like maybe a lot of people, and just sort of kind of draw a lot of the strings we've been pulling on together. Maybe there's this whole class of people who are trying to avoid facing, not necessarily being gay. Maybe that's just a small slice of the pie. But maybe there's other things people don't want to face. And it's so much easier just to throw yourself under the banner of a loud, boisterous person like Donald Trump or a religious person than it is to maybe face your inner demons or whatever. I don't know. And I'm not saying being gay is a demon, but to me, it felt like one. It felt like I was a bad person. I actually had to face not being gay. It was about the stigma I had about being gay. You've
been indoctrinated that it is wrong.
Right. So you feel like you're wrong.
Don't kid yourself. You were brought up to think that was demonic, which would explain why the anti-gay treatment was so bad. What do you think they were trying to do?
Right.
They were trying to beat it out of you.
Pray the gay away.
Or shock.
Or shock you. Or all the terrible things they do to people. But I also read this too, that it was and it's a quote from a very person we don't like to quote a lot, but Karl Marx, who I'm not necessarily saying I agree with everything he said, but he said religion's the opium of the people. Didn't he say that? Right. And then maybe religion becomes like a numbing effect. Maybe it's just easier to get caught up into something that you know is wrong, like a guy who has sex with a porn star. But it's easier to find a way to work around that than it is to face what I don't want to face. Maybe I don't know. I'm wondering.
Remember that one of the ways that Trump got people on his side was to allow religion to be the opiate of the people.
Right. Yes. Yes.
That's what Jim Baker likes.
Jim Baker likes it. Yeah, Jim Baker loves him. Jim Baker's great.
Yeah, he said Trump's orange glow is from Jesus Christ coming through him.
Yeah. I mean, he gave so many people the right to be their bigoted self.
That's what it is, I think.
Look at how he took in the fundamental Christians, but he also took in the Jewish people. Okay? So, and each group didn't think there was anything wrong with him loving both. But with Trump, it was all about getting votes. But nobody would acknowledge that. So to him, it was just a great game plan for votes. And yet none of them would look at that as a way to, as what, none of them would acknowledge what he was really doing.
Because it was easier to do that than to maybe face what you really want to face or deal with.
Because he was giving the Christians what they wanted, and
Right.
he was giving the Jews what they wanted.
He was tickling their ears. That's what they say in the Bible. They call it the beware of the false prophets that tickle your ears. That's actually in the Bible. I grew up, like, I can't tell you the verse, but I know they talk about the false prophets that will tickle your ears. And basically that's tickling your ears is sort of a metaphor for telling you what you want to hear instead of what you need.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the religion was the opiate for both of them.
Right.
And, you know, the only group he hated were the Muslims because he could play into the American people's fear of them.
Right.
Remember, he made sure every group heard what they wanted to hear.
I wonder what Hindi people think of him. What do Hindus think of Trump? I guess we don't have like Hinduism is one of the biggest religions in the world, but it's really not huge in the States, I guess. But it is huge in the world, you know. I wonder what
it is, but here it is not welcome.
Doesn't seem to be, does it?
He plays into that because the Christian notion well, remember that the Jewish community does not like that faith because of what happened after World War II when they were given land. And it became a huge conflict with the Muslim people.
Right, yeah.
And the Palestinians.
The West Bank and all that stuff, yeah.
Yes, it's a huge conflict that has never ended. So they're never going to embrace them. The Christians are never going to embrace them because the Muslims don't believe that Jesus was the Messiah.
Right.
So they're not going to embrace them. So they don't want, both those groups don't want to see them in this country. And they don't want them here. So Trump played off of that too. He gave them everything they wanted in terms of hatred of the Muslim group.
Right. That's what you call a charlatan, right? That's maybe the definition of a charlatan. I hear that word a lot, but it sounds like that may be the word.
He's an opportunist, and he's going to go where he can get the most bang for his buck.
You know what else he is? He's a criminal.
Well, he is a criminal.
He's actually been convicted. Well, he's been indicted, right? He hasn't been convicted. Let's get it right. He's been indicted for a crime, right? So he's gone.
Here is what's scary about Trump. If you want to know what's scary about Trump, you watch The Dictator's Playbook. Watch that. It's a series that focuses on the world's most heinous dictator in the world and who they were and how they became the most heinous dictators in the world and how they did it. And you watch, Trump is an absolute prime example. And one of the ways he does it, and he does it really well, is he shouts things over and over.
Just that repetitive thing. Yeah.
But he does it so much and so often, and he never stops. So people start believing it.
Right.
And right now he's going after.
And that's basically,
and the hands too.
And that's what churches do, by the way, too. Churches do that repetitive thing, whatever.
Yes, too. Right. But he's the one who is currently mesmerizing the American public because he shouts and shouts and shouts. And this whole thing about what a treason it is and what a miscarriage of justice it is because people are coming after him for illegal things that he did.
Right. He's
shouting about it. He's so loud about it. He never stops. And he's calling it dangerous and a miscarriage of justice and how it was awful and how these people they need to be in jail and they are so wrong. And if you say it enough, the American people start to believe you. And he is so loud. He's done this all his life. Look at his presidency.
Right.
He broke the law so many times, but again, he yells and he yells and he yells about it. He blames other people for it. And now he's going after this prosecutor He's going after the prosecutor that found his company guilty
Right. Yeah.
of the things they did. He's still going after them. He's still going after that, the election and how he believes it was, but he doesn't stop. And he knows that if he keeps at it, the American people more and more and more will believe him.
Right.
And here's what happens. Eventually, these guys take over because people will stand behind him. And all these people with guns who will help him by getting behind him, and like January 6th.
Mm-hmm.
All these guys who will get behind him and support him, and they are just waiting and itching for a fight. What happens is he will get back into being elected. And once he's elected again, he will start, they think they're safe with him. But because he wants to be a dictator, and they don't see that. And the first thing that's going to happen is he's going to put before a firing squad all the people, and he talks about it. She belongs in front of a firing squad. He's going to do Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden. He's going to do everyone he hates. And all of his followers are going to think that's the greatest thing, that he wants to kill those people. And then the next step, he's going to take away all of the weapons, because a dictator must have control of weapons. So all these people he helps keep their weapons, those at some point will have to go.
Very interesting.
Because the dictator must be able to control everybody.
Sounds like you should write a book about that. Oh wait, we already have one. What is it? The Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah, this is a series that was on PBS.
So it's called The Dictator's Handbook.
It's individual shows on all of the worst dictators that the world has ever seen. Hitler, Idi Amin, Noriega.
Yeah, all the bad guys.
Stalin,
I guess. Or
the Italian Stalin, the Italian dictator.
Mussolini.
It's all, these are episodes.
So it's on PBS.
Did Nostradamus predict Trump? I was watching Nostradamus a while back.
Oh yeah, all the quatrains of Nostradamus. Did he predict? He might have. He predicted a lot of stuff. Yeah. Orange turd came out of the sky and landed on the.
Yeah.
We'll have to watch that. And as a tip to you also, by the way, if you do like Bill Maher, they've got to where they do like if he's on Saturday, they'll post a lot of the clips on YouTube, and he okays it. So if you ever wanted to catch like a little bit of him and get your little Bill Maher fix again.
Oh yeah.
So and we'll check that Dictator series out too. I tell you what though, I just realized we've kind of been going for almost an hour here, and I actually have to go.
Oh my goodness. This has been fun.
I know it's been a lot of fun, and thank you for your sage advice about. And I think we're going to take your advice, and other than whatever we've done, maybe do a day of rest.
I'm going to a Seder.
A Seder.
Yeah, go to your Seder
and rest. Well, I hope you do have a happy Easter. I hope you have a nice day of rest.
You too. I can't wait to hear about how yours went. So, I mean, that'll be so great to hear about.
No, don't tell on me, okay? Don't tell. Okay.
No. What's your parents' phone number?
All right. Well, we'll sign off then. Terry, we're going. Thank you so much. You guys have a happy Easter. Take care. Bye.
Easter. Bye-bye.
Bye.